I first played Hollow Knight in 2018, shortly after graduating high school. I remember playing at night, usually after a day filled with anxiety, and being totally immersed in the enchanting world of Hollow Nest. I vividly remember the comfort I felt as I became lost in Hollow Knight's transcendent music, beautiful graphics, and engaging gameplay. It was as if the world around me dissolved, leaving only myself, the glow of my TV, and the quiet air in between. Those feelings have stuck with me more than any specific gameplay moment. As I completed the intro section of the game, I saw the knight standing on the precipice of an unknown and gloomy world, and I couldn't help drawing parallels to my own life. I was standing on my own metaphorical precipice, looking down at the unknown and gloomy world of adulthood. I worried about what dreadful and scary things I might face, and whether I'd have the strength to meet them. And yet, coupled with my worry was hope. Hope that by taking the leap, as the knight does, and embracing the unknown, I would experience new joys and wonders previously unavailable to me in my adolescence. Very few games have had such a deep emotional impact on me. Hollow Knight served as more than a cheap distraction or a fun hobby, but as a space for reflection. Those late nights I played Hollow Knight as a new adult became a time to reflect on the sorrows and joys of my past while bracing for the potential struggles and excitements of the future. At that point in my life, Hollow Knight in essence became a bench. A time to make note of where I'd been and gather strength for the journey ahead. 7 years later, and a lot of the hope I felt back then has dissipated. Joys I once dreamed of have not yet come, and I have not faced any grand trials as the knight did. Instead, I feel numbed by mediocrity. I feel almost like the hollow husks found in the darker areas of Hollow Nest, cast out and forgotten at the bottom of a once hopeful world. As a result of this, I look at Silksong with less innocence and wonder and more reality and experience. I've learned that leaping into the unknown is not enough to claim the things I have always wanted. Like the bugs of Farloom, I have to ascend in my own life by using the resources available to me to make a pilgrimage and claim the joys I once hoped for. In Silksong, Hornet strives to climb Farloom to the Citadel to discover the reason she was kidnapped and brought to this strange land. Silksong separates itself from Hollow Knight in tone and gameplay style by having Hornet ascend rather than descend. You travel a path that many bugs have traveled before, but not as a pilgrim, as a hunter. It's weird having a Hollow Knight protagonist speak and reply to bugs after becoming accustomed to being a silent husk in Hollow Knight. Hornet speaking adds more opportunities for character growth and world building. Religious elements help to elevate the haunting yet enchanting world of Farloom. Elements such as faith, sin, prayer, and judgment are sewn into the fabric of every character and the world around them. These spiritual tones help these cute little drawings of bugs feel human. Like in the real world, religion thrives in the most remote and desolate places. Rosary beads, an item used in Catholic meditation and prayer, act as this game's monetary system and also serve as remnants of past pilgrimages. Rosaries can be found on cursed pilgrims, at shrines presumably made by pilgrims, and on enemies who acquired them by killing a pilgrim or pillaging their corpse. Rosaries are a constant reminder of the dangers of the pilgrimage to the Citadel and of the pilgrims who have succumbed to those dangers. Singing and chanting help to build religious tones while also serving a gameplay purpose by leading you with auditory cues to specific characters like Chakra the Cartographer or former pilgrims turned enemies. The singing and chanting is inviting, especially in such a desolate world, but can betray you by leading you to hostilities. Music plays a large part in the story and world of Silksong. In order to open the door leading to the Citadel, you have to ring 5 bells located in various parts of Farloom. In the real world, bells are used practically and symbolically in many religions to summon worshippers and ward off evil spirits. The same is true when you ring the final bell located at the shrine in the Citadel. As the metallic tones ring throughout the haunted halls of the Citadel, you summon pilgrims to a safe place where they can rest. Hornet also wields a harp-like needlewind that she plays to unearth nests of her mysterious weaver ancestors. All of this, combined with the melancholic music, creates a beautiful atmosphere that is sad yet hopeful. The detailed and beautiful backgrounds in conjunction with the wistful and ethereal lighting and particle effects allows the simple silhouette-driven designs of Hornet and the other bugs to stand out. The contrasting harmony of Silksong's graphics creates a sort of cognitive dissonance where the characters look and sound cute, but the setting they are in is bleak and gloomy. The bug's hostile nature further serves this contrast. Cute creatures attack you, and Hornet, as the cutest creature of them all, attacks back. There are elements of Hornet's sound design that punctuate this juxtaposition of being endearingly vicious. Hornet's soft footsteps are in contrast with the sharp, bassy thud or metallic clang when Hornet hits something with her needle. It's cool that they implemented moves from Hornet's boss fights into this game, like her downward strike, harpoon, thread storm, counterattack, and sting shards. Hornet can heal 3 masks at a time, but only when her base silk spool is full, compared to Hollow Knight where you can heal 1 mask at a time with just a little soul, but it takes just as long. The mapping system helps you feel more like an explorer by requiring you to not only buy maps for each area, but also a quill to mark where you've been, and a compass to see where you are. These map limitations force you to be aware of your surroundings. As you travel, it's important to make mental notes of unexplored paths so you can come back to them later. It feels like you're exploring a world rather than navigating to waypoints and checking off a list of objectives. That's how games should be. Silksong does have a dedicated list of objectives and side quests. While this does help keep track of various tasks around the world, it feels less organic than the quests in Hollow Knight, where you have to study your map to figure out where to go next. Instead of charms, Silksong features tools and crests. Different crests grant Hornet different combat abilities and come with their own set of tool slots. Red tools serve as sub-weapons, blue tools are combat and silk focused, and yellow tools are geared towards exploration. The blue and yellow tools are essentially Silksong's equivalent of charms. Sub-weapons are typically throwable weapons that have a limited amount of ammo, which can only be replenished at benches by spending shells. Shells act as a currency like rosary beads, but instead of general purchases, they're specifically used to refill tools or craft new ones. They're dropped by enemies and scattered throughout the world. The crest and tool system feels a bit more rigid than Hollow Knight's charms, which offered greater flexibility and customization. Still, I appreciate that Silksong introduces something different that places more emphasis on sub-weapons. I found sub-weapons to be quite effective when used at the right moments, especially once you acquire crafting kits that boost their damage or equip tools that enhance offensive power. I also like that crests add variety to how Hornet wields her needle and can be tailored to different situations. For example, the Wanderer crest is great for exploration, offering quick needle swings and a Hollow Knight-esque pogo, while also allowing me to equip 3 yellow tools at once, like the compass, bead magnet, and silk speed anklets for faster movement. On the other hand, if I'm struggling with a difficult boss fight, I might equip the Reaper crest, which lets me gain more silk at the cost of slower needle swings, while also providing extra slots for combat and silk focused blue tools. Tools remain slotted even if a crest isn't currently equipped, so you can set up multiple crest builds in advance and swap between them depending on the situation. One problem I think Silksong has is the inevitable gameplay loop of facing a tough boss, dying, traveling back to the boss, and then getting killed again, thus restarting the cycle. And you can't just leave and come back later after getting stronger, because your beads, which you need for upgrades, are stuck with your silk cocoon at the boss. And if you die before retrieving your silk cocoon, your beads are gone. It gets to the point where it becomes less of a game about skill and more about memorizing not only the boss's patterns, but the fastest way to get back to the boss. I love this game, but this specific part feels like a problem. When you're stuck in this vicious cycle, the game devolves from fun to frustrating. It also kills immersion because your irritation quickly overshadows any tension or emotional weight that's been built up through exploration, story, or atmosphere. There's been a couple times where I've lost thousands of beads because my silk cocoon spawns behind the boss that just killed me, and by the time I get back to the boss, I'm already at low health from fighting enemies on the way there, and so the boss kills me before I can hit my cocoon. And yes, I am aware of the whole get good argument, haha funny. But I think that's a gross oversimplification. Difficulty alone isn't the issue. I enjoy challenging games. The problem is that I'm forced to live, die, and repeat like Tom Cruise in The Edge of Tomorrow. Or I'm forced to live at the edge of tomorrow like Tom Cruise and live, die, repeat. Whatever. It undermines the player's sense of progress and enjoyment rather than supporting it. I would recommend spending all your beads or converting them into strings or necklaces before a big boss fight so you don't risk losing them. Also, don't hesitate to use a Silk Eater if you're afraid of dying before you collect your cocoon. They become more plentiful as you progress through the game, and there's a guaranteed spot where a self-appointed slave makes them for you. You can always make a quick trip back to the slave, but it'll take a lot longer to recollect the thousands of beads you might lose. As I've been writing the script for this video, there's been a lot of talk about Silksong's extreme difficulty. In response to this, Team Cherry co-founder Ari Gibson has said that Hornet is inherently faster and more skillful than the Knight, so even the base level enemy had to be more complicated, more intelligent. Co-founder William Penn has said that the basic Ant Warrior is built from the same moveset as the original Hornet boss. There's the same core set of dashing, jumping, and dashing down at you, plus we added the ability to evade and check you. In contrast to the Knight's enemies, Hornet's enemies had to have more ways of catching her as she tries to move away. And now to quote this IGN article directly, Team Cherry thus made enemies more powerful to present Hornet with a challenge, or as they put it, they had to bring everyone else up to match her level. Team Cherry also talked generally about its design philosophy for Silksong, insisting that by presenting the player with the choice to constantly divert from the main path, they are able to dance around Silksong's now infamous steep difficulty curve. My experience with the game has been a little different. As I mentioned before, I haven't always been able to constantly divert from the main path because I'm trapped in the vicious live, die, repeat boss cycle, especially because there are some punishingly difficult bosses that are so ridiculously far away from any obvious bench spots, like the infamous Grohl the Great Bile Water boss fight, and some bosses where you immediately get closed in after entering, making it impossible to retrieve your silk cocoon and then leave to dance around Silksong's steep difficulty curve. Silk Eaters do remedy this a bit, but when you don't have any, you're forced to abandon your rosaries or get good. To bring this full circle, I want to compare Silksong to my own life like I did at the beginning. As I played Silksong and died to a difficult boss for the 15th time, only to make the trek back and die again, I'm reminded of problems in my own life. At times I feel stuck in a vicious cycle of failure, forced to make the trek back to face a problem only to fail again. But inevitably, with time and effort comes greater skill and experience to face said problem. Upon playing through Silksong a second time to capture footage for this video, I was surprised at how easily I was able to defeat bosses that, on my first playthrough, gave me so much grief and frustration. Like in life, sometimes unbeknownst to us, with time and experience comes greater ability to face challenges, and once tough challenges become easy. As we struggle through our everyday mundane problems, and even through lifelong problems, it can feel impossible, like no matter how many times we face them, and no matter how many times we make the trek back from the bench, we will not be able to overcome, until we inevitably do. Like Hornet and the Bug Pilgrims, we are all ascending in life, all on the same pilgrimage, overcoming hardships and gaining greater skill. And if adulthood is a sequel to childhood, the increased difficulty and feelings of being stuck can be frustrating, but by experiencing and overcoming these hardships, our capacity to feel ultimate joy is increased. Silksong is a worthy sequel to one of my favorite games of all time. The enchanting and haunting atmosphere helps to identify Silksong with Hollow Knight while also being different enough thematically to stand on its own. And while the difficulty spike can at times be frustrating, it's appropriate in the context of Hornet being more agile and Silksong being a sequel. So overall, I'd say it's a good time.